Stephen in Tomball, Texas, and you're on with Jen and Tracie seeking advice on how to talk with theists about signs from God. So let's hear, what do you got? Stephen?
So,
hey.
Mom.
Yeah.
My mom's mom, yes, ma'am. My mom's mom died about maybe a year ago, and on that night that she passed away, we were all sitting outside, and my mom was praying in the corner in her little seat outside. I could see her, and then all of a sudden I just hear her start screaming and like pointing at the sky. And me and my dad and her brothers turned around, and she's like, I saw a shooting star and stuff. And she said that she was praying for some kind of sign from her mom, and then that shooting star went by. And I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that, because I think it's maybe she thought she saw it or something.
Oh, okay. First of all, I like to go camping. You can see a shooting star on almost any night.
Yeah.
So shooting stars are not rare. Now, they're certainly more common during something like a meteor shower, which I don't know when this thing happened, but recently we had the Ursid meteor shower. Just FYI, we recently had a meteor shower. And I don't know if this is when your mom saw her sign or not, but the point is, even without a meteor shower, you're going to see falling stars because crap is falling through our atmosphere all the time. And so I can not only look up at the sky and see meteor showers, but when you get away from too much light, you can see satellites, right? You can watch the satellites go by, and they're kind of cool too. So there's a lot of stuff in the sky. Shooting stars are not that rare. It's probably also not that rare that your mom prays to her mom, or prays or talks or thinks about her mom, right? I'm going to say that if she was sitting there praying to her mother that night, and you said that she passed away, what, about a year ago, did you say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so your mother still probably thinks about this, and she probably thinks on it, prays about it. You know, I'm assuming if she's religious, she probably prays often, and if this prayer for her mom or for this sign that her mother's okay or whatever is probably a general part of her prayers. And if she's doing this all the time, and then the one, you know, at some point there's a lot of falling stars, there's a lot of prayers for mom, and I look up and I saw a falling star. And I think if it wasn't the falling star, it would have been something else, right? A butterfly lands on her hand, or, you know, it could have been all kinds of things that could have happened. But I've definitely seen more falling stars than butterflies landing on my hand. It's not a rare event. So with one thing being a pretty common event and one thing probably happening very frequently, several times a day, I would guess, if your mother's very religious and still thinks about her mother within the last year, which would not be unusual, just having two frequently occurring events within a year somehow coinciding, to me, is not that, you know, it's a nice story, but I don't think that there's anything very weird about it.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, do you remember the time of year when she saw this shooting star?
I believe it was near the end of 2017.
Oh, this was a while back. This isn't anything to do with Ursid then. Yeah.
Yeah, so, because I was just curious, because the Perseids were active. They're active every year between July and August. So if it was sometime in that time frame, it's probably the Perseids, which those are some pretty spectacular meteor showers.
Yeah. They certainly raise the odds. If it happens during the term of a meteor shower, or on a clear night, for example, if there's no clouds, right? You can just see the sky. If you don't live where there's tons of light, you have a better view and better capacity. I go out and do walks through the neighborhood, and it's not unusual for me to see shooting stars every now and then.
I was going to say, I think I saw one
like, and I live in the suburbs.
Last week or something. Yeah, and you know, not a sign from God.
Yeah, so I mean, I understand her feelings about what happened. People are very moved often by coincidences, right? I mean, you think about it, it has meaning to you, and, you know, but...
Yeah. Humans are pattern-seeking animals, and we tend to attribute agency to these things when we observe them, even when there's no agency involved.
Yeah.
And part of that is a survival mechanism. You know, if you were an early primitive human walking through the savannah and you saw the grass rustling, the ones who survived were the ones who assumed it was a predator in the grass, and they ran away. Mm-hmm. The ones who said, oh, it's probably nothing, were the ones that got eaten.
Right.
So we're primed to see agency in these events.
And we're also sky watchers, right? I mean, celestial events mean a lot to people. Eclipses are huge, right, among cultures, and that can see the sky. And so, you have this capacity or all these stories that have to do with, if you look up mythology around shooting stars, you'll find lots of different cultural stories about what is a shooting star, what does it represent, what does it mean, right? So we look for meaning in that event. It's not just like a leaf fell, right? I mean, she could have done something like that where she said, then this leaf fell, but she probably views the shooting star as less mundane, right? And I understand why. People are so moved by celestial events. We see a thing that happens in the sky that isn't something you see every night, and you think, oh, that's super cool, because it is super cool to see a shooting star. But we also attach all this meaning to it, right? So we have a lot of meaning that our culture attaches to this already, saying that these things are somehow magical or these, but really we know what they are, right? It's a rock or some debris falling through the atmosphere large enough to see the disintegration of it and the burn up as it comes through the atmosphere. So if you really think about it, how would a burning piece of rock going through the atmosphere, like, how would you know that was a sign from God versus the fall of a leaf, or versus a butterfly landing on your hand, or versus stubbing your toe, or getting a burned piece of toast? Or, I mean, what constitutes a sign, right? And it's because we have this meaning of falling stars as being somehow mystical and magical.
All right.
I mean, does that all make sense, or did you have other thoughts or questions on it, or was that what you were looking for?
Yeah, I was just looking for like what you guys thought about that, because it's probably because I don't go outside much often than you guys do, probably. But I've never seen a shooting star before.
Oh.
Whenever my mom said that she saw one.
About how old are you? You don't have to give like too many details, but how old are you?
I'm 17.
Go camping.
Okay.
Go camping.
Yeah, and go outside next summer. Between about mid-July and about the third week of August, go outside and watch that. The Perseids will be back again.
And I can tell you that if you want to see if you want to see a satellite, right, you have to really look. They're tiny and they look, to me at least, any kind of red. So when you look up at the sky, you'll see them. They move in a straight line and they just go very slowly across the sky. You'll be able to tell it's moving. It'll be like a tiny colored star, and it'll just go in a straight line. And you'll know it's not a plane because it won't blink. Right. So it'll just keep going. It won't burn out, and it'll go away until it goes over the horizon and just disappears. And if you go camping, you might see 3 or 4 of those on a night. They're really cool.
All right, I look forward to it.
Okay.
All right.
Thanks for calling, Stephen.